Hello there, guys. Hello and welcome. If anybody sat there watching this video, then congratulations, you are here and you are getting the very first How to Draw series with Andy Sanders. Today we are looking at how to draw robots and dinosaurs. And if anybody is sat there watching and wondering what we're going to be covering, well, it's quite self-explanatory. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to create awesome looking robots and fantastic looking dinosaurs. And what I'm going to be doing through this is guiding you guys, and I'm going to be taking you step by step on how to draw each of these lovely little characters. My idea with this is that it's something you guys will be able to do. It's a bit of fun for 6 to 10-year-olds mainly, but anybody of any age can join in. And really, it's all about you guys being creative and coming up with your own characters. I am not going to say to you, you have to do things like this, you must do it this way, and you have to end up with this character. I want you guys to go away, and I want you to come up with your own fantastic characters. And at the end of this workshop, I want you guys to draw your own little robots, your own little dinosaurs, and I would love you to share them with me on Twitter or on Instagram or on Facebook, and use the hashtag #DrawWithAndy. If you use that hashtag, then it's going to mean that I can see who's been doing what. And as a result of that, I'm going to pick 2 people. I'm going to pick 2 awesome illustrations that I think look fantastic. And you guys, whoever's done the best robot and whoever's done the best dinosaur, you're going to get a copy of one of my original Andy Sanders first edition picture books. This particular one does actually have a dinosaur in the middle of it. But he's a very misbehaving sort of a dinosaur, and he does get squished by a very, very large moon. But enough of that for today. What we're going to do now is start some drawing. And I would love you guys to join in with me. So have your pens, have your pencils, have your paper at the ready. And what we're going to do, we're going to end up with some fantastic illustrations that look a little bit like this. This is an example of the kind of stuff that you could create. You don't have to make it look exactly like this. But today I'm going to show you how to do these characters one at a time. I'm occasionally going to be bringing in things like my little top tips, so keep an eye out for these. These are just little bits of paper that show you how to do something in a bit more detail. And do watch this video back again. If you get stuck, if you don't know what you're doing, if you miss something, it's not the end of the world, because this video will be available straight afterwards. What we're going to do to begin with, we're going to look at creating a little fella who looks a lot like this. Fantastic robot with some little wheelie tracks, some little robot antennas and things as well. And I'm going to show you how to make a guy that looks like that. We're also going to have some little dinosaurs too, but we're going to start off with him. So without any further ado, please can I ask you guys to get your pens and paper at the ready. I will do the same. I don't use any particularly fancy paper for this. This is just a bit of fun. It's a normal sketch pad. And what we're going to do, I think that's quite nice. Oh, I can see there somebody saying, hi from Alex, is Zuggy ready? We actually said Zuggy could be the name of one of the robots. Alex came up with the idea for a name of a robot called Zuggy. And I think that'd be a really nice name. So let's start off drawing Zuggy. Here we go, Alex. What I would like you guys to do to begin with is to just follow me and copy me. I'll sometimes be showing you how to do things, but I'll always tell you if you need to pause and just watch me do something first, okay? So to begin with, it's dead easy. We always want to start off with the robot's head. That's the most important bit. And to do that, what we're going to do, in the middle of our paper, we're going to draw a really simple, straightforward line down. And if you guys are using pens or pencils, that's fine. What I tend to do is always start off in pencil, and then I come back to this afterwards and I go over it in pen. It doesn't always show up very well on video camera, so today I'm just using pen all the way. But, you know, you guys can do it however you want. Hi there, Dina. Hello, Steph. Hiya. Thank you for saying hello. Right, what we're going to do is make one very straightforward rectangle. And this rectangle wants to be wider than he is tall. So it's nothing too complicated. And if you guys can do that, congratulations, you've got the start of your robot head. Now, the reason I say that it's a good idea to do it in pencil first and then go over it in pen is if you go wrong, you can always rub it out and redo it. If you're doing it in pen, then you're kind of stuck with this. But we're not going to make any mistakes on this. We're going to do A-OK. And what we're going to do is make this guy look 3D. And the whole thing I want you to learn from today is how to make robots look fantastic in 3D. And we're going to do that by putting a really thin line, not in the middle, but about it's around about a third of the way along, okay? And in doing that, what we do is we have a bit of thickness to him now. He looks like he's not just a solid rectangle. Instead, he's got one side over here, and then the rest of his face is going to appear here. And as you go, you can see we've done the very first bit. So we need to give him some eyes, and this next bit, this is dead easy to do. What you have to do is draw a little round circle, and if you guys watch this just before you do it, we're not going to make it a perfect circle. Instead, we're going to make him a little bit squashed, and I'll show you why. If you guys are familiar with, say, having a pound coin, when you look at that pound coin and you see it from above, it's perfectly round. It looks like that. But when you tilt it and it's on an angle, it looks flatter. And if you tilt it the other way, it becomes tall and narrow. And this is how you can make things look 3D. This is how you guys can make your robot look like he's got eyes that are on the side of his head. And if you guys are, really new to drawing, or if you think this might be a bit tricky, it's fine. Just draw some round circles instead. But what we're going to try and do is draw it so that it looks like he's got these little eyes that are looking on the side. Looking off to the side. So we need to draw a couple of circles here, but they've got to be very thin. So they're not perfectly circular. Instead, they're on a bit of an angle. And then, once you've got your little circles there for his eyes, we're going to put a lens around them. And to do that, we very simply draw very carefully. It's almost like a C, but backwards. You can see it there, look. It's a little curve that goes around the edge of our circle. Oh, hi there, Finn, Camden and Isla. Thank you for watching. And from the Western family. Thank you, Kim. What we're going to do here, guys, is now draw straight lines, perfectly horizontal, perfectly straight lines off from the edge of that little circle, that the little line we've just drawn. Okay? And then we're going to do another curve. This time it's going to be like the letter C. It's going to be curvy, and it's going to join up like that. And what that gives you, it gives you something that looks like an eye that's protruding out of his head, and it looks like it's got some depth to it. We're going to do the same over here for the other side. So what I'm going to do here, again, I'm going to give him a little bit of a curve there, and now I need to put this on, a little line at the bottom and a little line at the top, just perfectly horizontal, perfectly flat lines. And now I'm going to join them back up again, and you can see in this case, well, that bit's in the way, my other eye's in the way, but that's okay, not a problem at all. And I've now got two eyes for my robots. Oh, hello, another Finn, and Charlie in Twickenham. Hi, guys. Really nice to have you all here, by the way. This is my first live stream, and it's lovely to have you all. I do apologise if I don't get around to saying hello to everyone. I just won't have time because I'm going to be trying to squeeze all this into 40 minutes. So, from here, guys, we now need to give some little pupils. And to do that, we need to put a little semicircle over here. And it often makes your eyes look really good if you put a tiny little bit of light at the top of them. The way we do that is by leaving a little white circle at the top of our eyes and filling the rest of it in. And what happens is it makes that look like there's light coming from up here and bouncing off his eyes, and it makes him just look a little bit cuter than he otherwise would. We're going to do the same over there on that side, look. So we've got two little eyes there. Okay. He's not got a mouth yet. We need to give him one of those. The mouths are really easy to do. We're going to do a little straight line right under his eyes there. Not a big one, just a tiny one like that. And then underneath, we're going to do a big, big semicircle like this. So he looks happy. And because he's a robot, he's not going to have teeth like you or me. He's not going to go around and go chomping on stuff. Instead, he's going to have a little grill. And that grill is going to be how he speaks. Because he's a robot too, he also needs to have a little antenna. Now, rather than just drawing a straightforward antenna coming out of the top, you could just have a straight line, but robots don't tend to be built like that. Instead, they tend to have lots of little bits bolted on. And what I'm going to do here today, I'm going to add a couple of extra bits. So I'm going to have a little bit there, and then a little bit more. And all that is a fat rectangle and a thin rectangle. And you can add a little bit of shade into them if you want, just by doing some straight lines like that. And now we can give him his little antenna. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. In fact, to be fair, I always prefer him not to be perfectly straight, just to be a little bit curvy. Oh, there we go. Didn't realise I was going off the edge of my page. And then you've got your antenna for your robot. We're also going to have a go at doing his body and making him look pretty snazzy there too. I'll move my little top tip out of the way because we don't need him right now. And we're going to give him a neck. So dead easy. You'll notice now that there's a technique that we're using again and again to build a robot and make him look fantastic. And all it is building up rectangles on top of each other. So you guys can do this. All you have to do is add a little rectangle underneath here like this. And if you do it right, you can then add, you've got a little bit of space for adding some shade in there. So we can put some little straight lines down. And the reason for doing this is that it makes it just look a little bit differentiated. You don't want all your boxes to just be exactly the same. You want some of them to look different. You want to get the idea that they do different jobs on the robot. So this is going to be the one that helps his neck turn and swivel and things. Now then, he needs a big chunky body. So again, we're going to go for a really nice big body here. Round about the same width as his head, maybe a tiny bit bigger. And then, really importantly, we're not going to draw a perfect square this time like we did with the head. And you'll see why in just a second. Instead, we go down, we go across, but we don't draw this extra side here. And you'll find out why in just 1 second. The trickiest bit of drawing is often that you end up drawing things that you don't want to and you have to rub them out and go again and again. And I'm trying to do things absolutely perfectly the first time. And so what I'm going to do today, rather than drawing this line in here to show the back of his body, I'm going to put an arm in. And I've got to leave that space there for the arm to come out. So not in the middle of his chest or anything like that. Instead, just over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to put a little curve like this. And that curve is going to be where his arm joins up. His arm is going to go all the way out. So a curvy line going down like that on a curve. And this one is going to go on a little bit of a steeper angle. He's going to get a bit, making his arm get a bit wider as he goes down. And what that does is it gives you this arm that's connected up to his body. But as we go away from his chest, his arm's actually getting a little bit fatter. And we can join it up again. Little gentle curve there. If you put a straight line in or whatever to join it up, that's okay. Doesn't matter. And then, to make him look like a robot, we need to see about giving him some kind of extra bits on the end. Now, I did my previous robot with some little hands. But I think it'd be cool to give this guy like a zapper of some description so that he can go around and zap stuff. So I'm going to see about giving him an extra little bit here where he can go pew, pew, pew and shoot things. And to do that, I'm going to put 2 lines coming off his arm. And again, because I've got a little curve here, I'm not going to put a straight line on. It goes all the way back to our little coin trick we were talking about earlier about making things look curvy in 3D. Instead, I'm going to make this one look a little bit curvy too. And then I can put a zapper on the end that he uses for zapping people. Okay. Now, that's one arm, but not all robot arms are the same. So he needs to have one on the other side too, doesn't he? Just before we move on, I will fill in these little gaps here. There we go. I'll fill in those little gaps there so his arm's all joined up to his body. And I need to have something on the other side. And I think he will be a friendly robot. He's going to be waving. And to do that, we need an arm that's going to go all the way up here. So we'll take our pen. We'll draw all the way up there. And you can see now he's going to have an arm waving. I'm going to put a little gentle curve over there. That's where his hand's going to go. And then it's going to come around and join all the way back up underneath. Now, to give him a little hand today, all I'm going to do is put some really simple bolts on the end. And you can do these too. They're just semicircles, super duper simple ones, like that. He's not looking massively robot-y yet in terms of his body, so we're going to add a few extra little details now, and the details are the bits that I love. And you guys can do this how you want. I'll show you what I like to do, and then you guys can create it and edit it, do it your own way. Don't just do what I do, do what you want for this bit. And this is all about the control panel on the front of his chest. So what we're going to do is make sure that there's a clear point where it's the front of his chest. And what often works really nicely drawing your robots, if you've done the little line for his head, put the exact same space, sorry, put a line in the exact same space underneath for his chest. Okay? And then it just feels like the right place. I like to give my robots a little speaker on their chest too. So what I'm going to do is put in the top quarter here, I'm going to put a little box like this. And that one is going to be another speaker on him. You might have noticed, by the way, guys, I'm using a really chunky pen here. I like to use these pens for doing big fat outlines for my characters. Here's a tip as well. If you have a fat pen, sometimes it's nice to do little details to switch to a really thin pen. And then that way, if you're doing details like, say, a speaker, it means that you can get loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of little lines in, like this. For some reason, speakers always look best with diagonal lines. I don't know why. But you can fit them in like this. And it always looks really nice to have that contrast between the big fat outline for your character and then the nice thin fine liner pen like that for doing the details. Okay. The other thing I want to give to my robot, I want to give him some buttons. You can see on my previous one that I've done, he's got 4 buttons there and he's got a little circuit board. I see there, Steph is just asking about the pens that I use. I will do a completely separate post about that. Some people do get a little bit geeky about pens like me and they get really excited about them. I don't want to spend all day talking about this today, but just very quickly, if you do want to know, I use something called a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen, which is black, and it's a brush tip one. And I use these ones here, which were Stadler 0.5. Okay. By all means, Google those. You'll find them. You can buy them online. But I'll talk more about those another time. Instead, today we're going to be looking at doing robots. So, a few little circles here. Now, if your chest is nice and big and wide, you might not need 2 circles. You might need 3 circles or 4 circles to get all the way over from one side to the other near the speaker. If you've got a really narrow chest, you might only have space for 1 little circle. But that's cool. It doesn't matter. It's your robot and you can make him look how he wants. And one of my favourite bits about doing robots is that you then get to do the circuit boards on them. And this is where you have little bleepy boopers. The way I tend to draw these is by doing little lines. And there's no set way that you have to do it. If you want to copy me, you can do. So drawing a little line down, then a line along, a line back up. And put in big dots at the end. What this does is it lets you create a circuit board so you can see how the robot is wired up. And you could always have it so if you have a bunch of robots who are friends, you could have them wired up in the exact same way. All you have to do here, guys, you can kind of do it how you want. There's no set way of doing it. You just have to add little full stops, you know, little dots like that, and join them up with the lines. Okay? And that'll make your robot look like he's an actual robot with circuits on him. The other thing that happens with robots too, because like I said to you before, they're not all made out of the same metals, you might want to shade these in different colours when we finish them. So you might have the front of his robot body in, say, a nice bright silver, and then the side in a darker grey. That can be a really fun thing when it comes around to doing the colouring at the end. But right now, I'm just going to add a couple of other little details that are going to show that there's different bits of metal here for him. And so going back up to my arms here, I'm going to put a little line all the way across. Again, a curvy line that's the same sort of shape as that one. And then again, I can put in here some really fine lines like this. It just makes him look, there we go, like he's got some metal on him. I'm going to do the same over here as well, just so it's balanced out. Okay, now for the slightly older guys that are watching this, I'm going to show you something that's super geeky about drawing stuff in 3D, and it is really cool. I love this. The bits that I've done so far are really light in terms of the detail, okay? I've just put some shading on. But if you guys want to have a go at this next bit and really try to see if you can get the hang of it, that's cool. I'm only going to do it once, and I'll let you guys go away and work with this if you want. And the whole thing is, when you're drawing something in 3D and it's curved and it's round, what you need to do to make it look like it's properly round, and I'm going to do it here, is to have it so that if you're putting shading on like we are here with these little lines, it needs to be fairly spaced out in the middle. And I'm going to show you this now. These bits here are quite far apart. These lines are quite far apart that I'm drawing. But as they get towards the edge, they should get closer and closer together until they're virtually on top of each other. And here's the thing, if you do this, it makes it look more 3D. If you ever have a cog or anything like that, and you turn it on the side, you'll see that all the little spaces in the middle are quite far apart, and then they seem to almost bunch up together towards the top and the bottom. And that's one of the ways that you can make your robots, if you draw them with little curvy arms or round bits, you can make them look really properly 3D. I've really ummed and ahed about doing all of the details like that, but I figured it might get a bit too geeky and I might spend too long doing this. I can see Tracy there saying her twins missed the beginning of it. Yes, this is going to be available straight afterwards so they can catch the beginning too. But yeah, so I might do some more advanced stuff in future and look at doing a little more details about how to make things look more 3D, but we'll come on to that later. Right, now before we get on to doing his fantastic little legs, what we need to do next, guys, is to add a little cable. Cables are really fun. They're always on robots and they're always curvy. So to do this for him, we're going to have one that joins up from his body to his head. To achieve it, we're going to start off at the back of his head. Doesn't matter where it is really, could be the top or the bottom. I'm going to put mine somewhere near the bottom, and I'm going to have it joining out almost like the letter C, all the way around there into his back. If you wanted to, you could just have a really thick black line, but again, that's not so much fun. I like doing all the little details on my robot. So we'll do a big curve like that. And now we need to add some shading to it. And again, let's make him look properly 3D. For all you guys that do your illustrations all the time and do this kind of thing, you might be familiar with this. But for those of you that don't, this is a really nifty trick. If you draw the letter C again and again, all the way along a cable or a piece of rope, when you draw them, it makes it look three-dimensional. Okay, right, splendid. I think he's looking pretty snazzy. We need to give him some legs because he's not going to go very far like this. I think if anything, he'd be stuck where he is. So we need to give some wheels underneath. We can't jump straight into the wheels. We need to give him some little hips so he can move around. And to do that, again, we need to have another box. So here we go. This one's going to be where his waist is. Make this one nice and thick. And again, put in some lines going all the way down. Okay. And you're going to think all you're doing, Andy, is drawing rectangles. Yeah, occasionally though it's nice to vary it up. And so for this next bit, we're not going to draw a rectangle. Does anybody know what this next shape is? If you do, get your mum or your dad to type it in the comment box. So it looks a bit like a rectangle, but these sides here aren't parallel. Instead, the bottom like that. Any ideas what that shape is there, guys? Okay, I'll tell you. It's a trapezium. I'm a maths geek. I love my shapes. But trapeziums go really well on robots too. And as you get down towards the base of your robot, putting trapeziums on for things like their feet, it makes it look like... there we go. Thank you, Pratt Bear. I beg your pardon, I'm probably mispronouncing your name, but thank you very much. It's a trapezium. And when you're doing things for the robots to stand on, trapeziums are great because it makes it look really sturdy. The bottom of the shape is fatter than the top, and it makes it look super sturdy. Okay. Now the final bit for this robot is giving him the wheels to get around. And if you love doing wheels, you could give this robot, say, 10 little wheels all in a line. We don't have loads of time today, so we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to do 2 big wheels for him to get around, but the principle is exactly the same. If you wanted to give 4, 5, 6, 10 wheels, whatever, you can do. But here we go. This is how we make him move about. At the end of your trapezium here, this is where the top of one wheel is going to go. Over here, at the other end of the trapezium, that's where another wheel is going to touch. And what we do is we draw our wheels perfectly round, so it circles. And you can see there, this wheel is going to the middle of the in line with the middle of the trapezium. Okay, halfway down, and then coming all the way back up now. Okay, that's one wheel. We need another one. So again, it's the exact same thing. Right where our trapezium's touching, we're going to put another wheel in, doing this way around this time. Okay, and he's touching that one in the middle, so they're right next to each other, these wheels. There we go, halfway there, guys. And then joining back up like that. Super duper. Now, at the minute, he looks like he's just sitting on a couple of footballs, and that's not going to be any good for us. We want to make it look like he's got these cool tank tracks, like he can zoom around on them, like tanks do. And so to do that, we need to do a couple of things. First off, we need to put some little axles in the middle. So to do that, we show that these are wheels by adding a little cog in the middle. If you wanted to add more details, you can do. You could say put another circle around these ones in the middle. There is nothing whatsoever stopping you doing that. And depending upon how much you guys love drawing circles, you could just keep doing circles all the way around and round and round and round and round until you get up to the outer circles too. But that would be overkill, so we're not going to do that today. What we do need to do now, though, is add the detail over here that's going to make it look like we're on tank tracks. And here's the trick. So all we do is draw a perfectly straight line that far. Okay, round about where the end of his hand is. Can be a bit less if you want it to be, or a bit more. And again, there. Boop. And then we're not going to draw straight down because that's going to ruin the effect. We want this to look like tank tracks. So to do it, we're going to draw a semicircle to join these two shapes up. That's pretty good. That's getting there. But we want it to look like he's got wheels either side of him and little tank tracks either side of him. So to do that, we're going to complete the little tank track. Ooh, sorry, my page is moving. I'm going to complete the little tank track underneath. And over here, where we've got this shape, we're going to split this in two. And again, really important we don't just draw a straight line because that'll ruin the effect. Instead, halfway along, we're going to draw a curve round like that, a little C shape. And right next to it, we're going to do another one. And I'm going to keep doing these little curvy shapes until I've got a solid black line here. If you guys are doing it in pencil, by the way, you could just draw one line there, and then just shade it in really quickly. But because I'm using a fat pen, I'm doing multiple lines. And this is now looking like there's a gap between these two wheels. It looks like he's got two wheels at the front instead of one. And at this point, we can now put our tread on. And I'm turning this around because I always find it easier on an angle. I'm going to do the cool 3D thing again. So just to show you, if you want to try this, that's fine. If you want to do straight lines that are all the same space apart, that's cool. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to make him look cool in 3D, the way to do it is to give yourself a couple of lines there. Look. And the lines near the middle of your wheels want to be spaced far apart. Okay? And then, as we get closer to the edge, they're going to start to get closer and closer together. And again at the top, starting to get closer together, closer together, closer together. There we go. Okay. And you can see that it now does make it look like those are real tank tracks that are sat on top of our wheels. Our robot now is just about complete. That is our first robot. I hope you guys have enjoyed that so far, but don't go anywhere because we are not done with today's activities yet. That's one example of how you can do robots. I hope you guys have got something that looks a lot like this. And I'm going to do one thing here. I'm going to put my signature on, but you guys need to put your signature on. Anytime you do an illustration, it's super important that you finish it off properly. And there's one thing I've forgotten too, something super important. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot this. So to make it look like he's not just floating in space and to actually anchor him on the ground, what we need to do too is to put a little bit of shadow just where he's been driving. So to do that, what I usually do is I do perfectly horizontal lines like this. And if you do that, it now makes him look like he's actually sat there on the ground. Okay? I can't believe I nearly forgot that bit. We're also going to have a little signature here too. So when you finished your illustration, you put your signature on. This is mine. But yours can be your name, your squiggle, your initials, whatever you want. This guy now is going to go to one side. We will have a look at colouring him in a minute if we've got enough time. But I know we started at 1:30 and we've not even started doing our dinosaur yet. So the one that we're going to have a look at doing... do you know what? Let's go bananas. Let's do one super quick cheaty dinosaur. This is an extra dinosaur. This is how you can do a Diplodocus super duper quick. So I'm going to do a super quick Diplodocus and then we'll move on to a funky Triceratops as well, okay? So grab yourselves an extra bit of paper, guys. Get yourselves an extra pen or pencil or whatever if you need to too. If you need to sharpen your pencil, now's your chance. And what we'll do in a minute, we'll create our Diplodocus and then we'll have a look at our Triceratops too. I'm hoping at the end I'll have a couple of extra minutes just to answer any questions that you guys may have, but I don't want to run on too long, okay? I'm mindful that you guys will have places to be and things to do. So, right, here we go. Diplodocuses are dead easy to do. What I always like to do with a Diplodocus head, it's kind of like a cheaty free dinosaur because you can just have them poking in from the side of your drawing. So if you're drawing a bunch of dinosaurs together, this is a super quick one to do. The way to do him is to draw a little semicircle like this. Well, I should say medium-sized semicircle, not tiny, okay? And that's your semicircle, and this is going to be his mouth. But when we come to when we come to do the rest of the line, we don't just stop there or we don't join it up. Instead, we do a circle that then gets carried away. It doesn't join up, and instead, it starts to go off to the side. And our dinosaur has got a big long neck, and he swoops off like that. We need to give him a little smile. We need to make him look like he's actually enjoying himself too. So, dead easy to do that. You've got sort of like a 3/4 circle and a little line wiggling off. But all we need again is another semicircle. This time, it's going to go here. To make him look happy and look like he's going, yay! We're going to put our little tongue in there. We're going to give him another little curve underneath. That's his lip. And actually, he doesn't look a million miles away from anybody wearing a football sock on the end of their arm, pretending that they're talking like that. I always think Diplodocuses look like they're made out of socks, to be honest with you. Okay. Oh, sorry, somebody said I've gone off the edge of the screen. I haven't. I've just gone off the edge of the paper. So like I said, this is a quick cheaty dinosaur. This is just an extra one that you can throw on the side of any illustration, and you can just have the Diplodocus's head poking in. So it's a little cheat one. We want to make our Diplodocus look super happy too. So to do that, we're going to give him a little little gentle curve. It's not quite a semicircle, but we'll give you that. And then his eyes sit on top. And the trick I do with eyes when I'm drawing them like this, I do two little tall thin circles and I colour in the bottom half. And when you do that, again, it makes it look like there's light bouncing off his eyes. Okay? He's going to be quite lonely there by himself, I think you'll agree. I don't think he's the sort of dinosaur that wants to be by himself. So we will show you guys how to draw a Triceratops doing a little bit of a boogie. I'll also see if I can squeeze in at the end, because I think I might have time. I'll see about doing a little T-Rex too. So, in order to do our Triceratops having a boogie, again, we're going to start off with the face. And this wants to be about halfway down your page. And what we're going to do, guys, is do a nice big U shape like that. This is going to be his mouth. And for some reason, I always think Triceratops look absolutely fantastic wearing sunglasses. You can tell there that if I was doing this in pencil, I would redo that line because I'm not happy with the side. But I'm doing it in pen, so we'll stick with that. What I would do then is give him a nice big fat body. And so underneath this big U, which is going to be his head, we put in another U shape that's joining up underneath. Like that. Okay. So you've got the start of his head and you've got his body. We then want to add a pair of sunglasses because this is a funky dinosaur. And I also like teaching people how to draw sunglasses. Sunglasses are dead easy to do. You have a straight line and then you go boopily boop. And you come back up. It's like a U shape. But before you join up, instead, you change your mind and say, do you know what? I'm going to go back down again. Whoops. And because they're sunglasses, it doesn't matter if you go over the line a bit. Instead, you just shade them in. You leave a little streak of light to show where it's reflecting off the sun. And it's basically, it's just two U's next to each other. That's all sunglasses are. So here we go. Triceratops wearing shades. Now he's going to need a horn as well. So to do that, you actually draw, if you're drawing a Triceratops straight on, you draw a raindrop on his nose. A raindrop is pointy at the top, curvy at the bottom, joins back up, pointy up there. He's not got the rest of his horns yet. He's going to need 3 of those horns. And he's also going to need a smile to show that he's a happy dude. So sticking out the side of his face, we're going to have a semicircle that comes out like that. And you need to leave space for where his mouth's going to go inside it. So it's got to be a decent sized semicircle. And in there we go, a little semicircle. You can see his little tongue there too, so he's happy. And this next bit, this is the trickiest bit of doing a Triceratops. If you can do this the first attempt, I'm super impressed with you guys. We're going to start off here. We're going to go all the way around doing some big bouncy shapes and join up back here on the other side of his head. And the way to do it is to do 3 big bounces to get to the top. So I'm going to do 3 to get to the top. You guys watch me and then you can copy afterwards. So I'm going to go 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 3 bounce. And there I'm level with the middle of his head. So if you guys want to have a go at doing that, go for it. I'm then going to do 3 more bounces to get all the way back down to the other side. They want to be the same sort of shape, so I'm not going to do a gigantic one, that'd be silly. Instead, let's go bounce, wee, bounce, woo, bounce. That was a silly noise. Who made that? We also want to make it look like he's got spikes there, guys. So let's give him a couple of horns here. Again, you can use the little trick I was showing you before with the raindrops. When they're head on, they're straight. But this time, they're going to be on a slight angle. So that one's pointing away from his from the center of his head, pointing upwards. The other one's going to be pointing the other way. Okay, so here we go. There we go. So he's got 3 horns now. 1, 2, 3. You can also, with Triceratops, give them some extra little ones around the edge, and they're dead easy to do. All you do is some little semicircles on the edge of your boops. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Now, to show that he's having a boogie and a dance, we want him to be throwing his arms out and having a nice jump in the air. So to do that, we're first off going to throw one arm up here. It's a big round arm. Because he's a herbivore dinosaur with fat feet, you're just drawing really fat shapes. He's not got you know, little tiny arms like T-Rex or thin skinny arms like monkeys or anything. Instead, he's got big chunky fat arms. And what you can do with him too, to make it look like he's sort of wiggling about, is curve them ever so slightly too. So not all of them have to be the same. And there's a little trick too where you can make it look like the arm's pointing in a different direction. Rather than having all of his little toenails spread evenly up there, if you bunch them together down here, it makes it look like his arm's in a different position. We also need to give him some legs, but because he's a Triceratops, those are virtually the same. And then, here we go. One leg. And again, little curvy leg there. 2 legs. Put your 3 little circles to show his toes there. And his 3 little circles here to show his toes there. We're going to give him a tail too. And because he's jumping in the air, I'll mine this out of the way and just see it maybe a little bit better. There we go. We've got our Triceratops leaping about. You can give him some music. Super easy. Music is dead easy to draw. Straight line with a circle on the end. Somebody who remembers their GCSE music will tell me better if that's a quaver or a semi-quaver or a crotchet. I can't remember. But you can add music all around. You can join up some of the notes if you want to. He's having a boogie. Whoops. He's having a boogie. And his mate over here is watching on. Okay. Right. It is 12 minutes past. Do we think that in the space of 3 minutes we could do a Tyrannosaurus Rex? I think we can. I believe in us, guys. So what I'm going to do very quickly, I'm going to find my last Tyrannosaurus Rex drawing. I'm going to see if I can dig him out. Where is he? And let's see if we can have a really quick go at doing him. It'd be lovely to do that with you guys and a really nice way to round off today's session. The T-Rex is super quick as well, you'll be pleased to know. He doesn't take very long to do at all. Where did I put my T-Rex? I don't know where he's gone. He's gone walkabout. He's gone rogue. Okay, right, never mind. In that case, I'll do him without my reference. T-Rexes are fun to draw, and they use some of the same techniques that we've looked at already. So, super duper quick, the last one to do today. This is our T-Rex. And he's going to be stood here. He's going to have a big semicircle for his mouth. And what we're going to do is, again, like we did with the Diplodocus, we're going to have a curvy shape that goes over the top. But this time, instead of it going all the way off and being a big long neck, we're going to take him here, up and over. And it's actually a semicircle that's a bit bigger. It just doesn't meet where it should do if it was going to be a normal circle, okay? And that's going to be our T-Rex head. We're then going to give him basically, like if you imagine a light bulb hanging down, a round old-fashioned light bulb, guys, before we've got the energy saving ones in, we're going to do that kind of a shape for his body. Like that. Okay? So you've got this little light bulb shape here. Now, I love to do my dinosaurs doing things rather than just standing still. So I'm going to say that this dinosaur, with his 2 little eyes there, let's say he's concentrating really hard on driving our robot from earlier. I'm going to give him a little tongue, so it's bigger than a semicircle. It's going to be stuck out like that, with a little line down the middle of it to show he's concentrating, and it also makes him look a little bit silly. And then we're going to give him a little remote control, and he's going to be driving our robot that we drew earlier on. Okay? So, here's how we do it. We take one little arm here, so not in the middle of his body, but just to one side, over here on the left-hand side. We're going to do 2 little lines. That's going to be his arms. We're then going to do a little shape, almost like a love heart, to go on the end of it. Crucially, we don't join it up. The reason we don't join it up is that we need to give him a thumb too. And there's his thumb. Again, you'll notice that we haven't joined things up yet. We've got 2 little curves there for his fingers and his thumbs there too. And here's why we don't join it up. It's because he's going to be holding a remote control. And this remote control is going to be what's driving our robot with the tracks that we did earlier. I'm not going to draw the entire thing. Again, you'll notice I've stopped, and that's because we need to give him his other hand. And his other hand is the same thing. It's two little bounces there, and it almost forms a love heart shape coming all the way around like that. You can make it look 3D. And the same tricks that we used before when we were doing our robot, we can use to show that he is working the remote controls. He's going to need some feet. Oh no, we've gone 1 minute over. Rats, okay. Oh, to think I nearly got 3 dinosaurs in. Oh, so close. We're over 45 minutes, guys, now. Never mind. Right, anyway, to give you guys his feet, they're dead easy to do. You do one line right underneath in the middle of his body. And then the other lines that are coming out, they're not going to be perfectly straight. Instead, again, like the robots, we want to have a nice sturdy base to stand on. So these are going to be a little bit more of an angle like that, coming outwards. And then we need to give him some Tootsie Banana toes. So to do that, what I like to do is to do a big C shape here, like the letter C. And then another one next to it. That's going to be his toes for this foot. On this one right next to it, we're going to do the same thing again. Another one, and then, oh, the page is moving, and another one. And if you want to make him look like a T-Rex, you can give him the little claws there too. You can make them pointy if you want them to be scary, but I always like mine to be friendly. And then to finish off his foot, you just come all the way along here, and he needs to have, because he's a T-Rex, he needs to have one more right at the back of his foot like that. He's got a little claw there too. Right, his tail then comes out as well, guys, like this. He's only going to have a little one because he's a fairly small, baby-sized T-Rex. And put the shading in there to show where he's been. We need to sign all of our fabulous pictures, so if you haven't already done so, make sure that you put your signature on. Your signature is so important. When you guys are all super duper successful illustrators with your own picture books, you can flog your illustrations on for millions and squillions and billions of pounds. You can become super duper rich, okay? We've now got, hopefully, 3 beautiful illustrations that you guys are proud of. We've got our robot from the beginning. He took the longest to do. Thank you, Steph, there. I can see you're saying that this is the longest that your son's enjoyed an activity. That's great to hear. I'm glad he's enjoying it. We've got our dancing Triceratops and his friend watching on. And we have got our T-Rex there with his little remote control who's going to be driving his friends. Now, you guys can use these skills to create just about any robot you want. You guys can give your robots arms. Again, all that is, look, it's just a really thin rectangle. And it's a rectangle on an angle. You can give them levers on the back, circles, again, rectangles, more circles. It's dead easy. There is nothing particularly fancy about any of this stuff. But what I would say to you guys, and the only thing I ask of you, if you've enjoyed this session, please, 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 can you guys show me the fantastic work you're doing? I would love to see on Facebook and Twitter all the things that you guys have been creating. I would love to see everything that you have been doing. And if you can please use the hashtag that I was talking about earlier, please put your illustrations on with Draw with Andy. I will be choosing the best robot and the best dinosaur that I see by the end of tomorrow. I will be making sure that you guys get a free copy of my book. So please get those uploaded. I'm going to be doing these every week, so there'll be another one next Wednesday afternoon. We'll be doing this as long as we're in quarantine because we need something fun. You guys can reuse this video as much as you want. I will make sure that it goes onto my Facebook page and that you guys can re-watch it if you want to do it again and again. Next week we are going to be doing it's going to be princesses and knights, so tune in for that one if you want. We're going to be looking at how to do princesses and knights. Thank you very much, guys. Do feel free to follow me on Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of it. But it's been lovely. You guys have been great, and I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Thank you.